This week, we got a new handheld from Sony, Nintendo blocking the program on Steam, and more. So let's just go ahead, together, as a people, and check it out! And welcome to another sensational Sunday. I'm Mike, and yes, the return has happened, and I've come for the gaming news. And of course, Sony had their showcase last week. They had some games, of course, but one thing I forgot about was their rumored handheld, codenamed Project Q. Well, Sony officially unveiled it at the showcase, and as the rumors from early April stated, it's going to have an 8-inch 1080p 60Hz display. And it's basically a PS5 controller bolted onto the sides of a screen. It's just going to do remote play, so basically local streaming only. Now, they didn't announce the name, price, or release date for it yet. They basically called it by the code name Project Q, as the previous rumors stated. There are new rumors that it'll launch in November, which will make sense with them announcing it now and them launching it right before Christmas. The thing that I didn't expect was the design. Like, they really did just take a PS5 controller, split it, and put it on each side of the screen. It's not necessarily bad, but it's kind of weird looking at first glance. The biggest thing we don't know right now is still the price. I talked about this when Project Q leaked last month, but there are a lot of alternatives you can buy that not only do remote play, but also play games natively, so this thing can't be too expensive. I mean, you get the added benefit of having all of the features of a PS5 controller, like the haptic triggers, but if this thing is like $300 and it only does remote play for one console, I don't think it would make sense in the current handheld market. I'll be waiting to see what the price ends up being before I pass my full judgment on it, but so far it feels kind of strange for Sony to release a remote play only handheld. And speaking of strange moves from Sony, they have been very quiet about how successful the PSVR2 have been so far. There were rumors that it didn't meet sales expectations. Well, Sony revealed during a business presentation some official sales numbers for the PSVR2. They confirmed that the PSVR2 has sold almost 600,000 units in the first 6 weeks that it was on the market, which is 8% more than the PSVR1 in the same time window. As the Engadget article points out, this was before the PSVR2 started selling at retail, so they've probably passed that 600,000 mark by now. They also went over their plans for studio investments for the fiscal year of 2025, and they're aiming for a 50-50 split of investments between existing games and new ones, along with putting more of a focus on live service games. So to summarize, it sounds like we'll be getting a lot of new games as well as updates to existing franchises, and the PSVR2 is selling a lot better than people expected, especially with that $500 price tag. Like I said before, I think the PSVR2 being successful is overall good for VR, and it's great that they've been able to sell so much for something at that price that only works with the PS5 and is basically the same price as the system. So we'll see if they can continue the same sales momentum or if they end up doing a price cut in the future to move more units. Speaking of momentum, the momentum that Microsoft had with this Activision deal has begun to fade as the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK has blocked the deal. So we have another quick update on this continuing story. Microsoft has officially filed the appeal with the CMA. Activision has also hired a former lawyer for Queen Elizabeth II to handle this case as well in the UK. But as the IGN article points out, the CMA rarely changes their mind when it comes to this type of decision, so it'll definitely be an uphill battle for Microsoft and Activision. I'm going to continue to keep my eye on this story, but I'm only going to report on it when there are major updates, because there are like minor updates on this story on an almost daily basis, but I feel like a lot of it's uninteresting, so we'll see what happens and if they can win their appeal against the CMA. But you know who else may be part of an appeal? Nintendo! And that's what we're talking about in our final story. So I previously reported that the Dolphin emulator was coming to Steam and how it could be good for Steam Deck users because it would be less of a hassle to install that emulator. Well, Nintendo has put a stop to it, for now at least. So if you're not familiar with Dolphin, it's an emulator for GameCube and Wii games that has to be downloaded and configured by the user in order to play those games. As with most emulators, they do not provide the files needed or the game files to run. Either way, Nintendo has issued a DMCA takedown notice to Valve stating that the emulator violated Nintendo's intellectual property rights. And as a result, Valve has notified the team behind Dolphin and have halted putting the emulator on Steam until the issue is resolved. And basically the Dolphin team can respond and say that they're not violating Nintendo's IP, and then Nintendo can decide if they want to sue them or not. But for now, the team has announced that the project has been postponed indefinitely, and they're reviewing their options, but it really sucks for them. This isn't super surprising because Nintendo has gone after emulators or ROM sites in the past. They've also been on a rampage lately because Tears of the Kingdom leaked early online and was playable through emulators. So yeah, this type of behavior is normal for Nintendo, but hopefully the team behind Dolphin can find a way for their emulator to still make it on Steam. And like a dolphin, I'm gonna swim up out of here, but make sure to check back because we got Summer Game Fest coming up on June 8th, so there'll be plenty of news coming. But let me know how you feel about Sony's officially revealed handheld codename Project Q. And until next time, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification to be notified when I drop a video or a live stream. And always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace.